Welcome to Invite Sent. We are a live streaming show where we interview people and play video games.
Jason, get it in there.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, God.
Got him. Got, son. Still there. Got him.
Excited for that. Ooh, just got in front of you. So I think that.
Got him.
Let's just get that.
He's upset. He's uninstalling the game.
Oh, watch it. Turn.
You should have seen I jumped right into it.
Oh, boy.
Oh, they're
Okay,
here. They're here. Hiya. How do I shoot them?
Do
I have a gun, don't I?
You don't want to. I would never probably shoot right now in their seat because your job is to heal us.
Okay. I like to jump right into the gameplay and start asking questions because there's plenty of interviews out there that are just two faces side by side talking about something. But let's not do that. Let's ask you hard questions while you're trying to play a video game on live stream.
I don't think I can talk and clean. It's very complicated.
What is your earliest memory of playing video games?
I do remember playing Pong on, it's probably like the Intellivision.
What was your go-to game then, girl?
A lot of people probably don't know what this is, but it's Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
We had our event last year. I don't even think we were really using the term metaverse. We were just saying we're going to be in Decentraland. Or maybe we did use the term metaverse, but like it wasn't popular. Just like blockchain and crypto didn't really become popular, mainstream popular, until NBA Top Shot created those moments. And then NFT became popular.
Man, I'm glad you're asking these questions.
One of my go-to games was probably NBA Street Volume 2.
Oh man, you just gotta pick like a seedless grape.
We are the best video game players in this video
on stream.
On this specific stream. Let me ask this: Why coach? Why coach esports?
I always was an avid gamer. You know, I fell in love with gaming. Life happened.
Yeah.
Got out of gaming for a while, then went back in because of some of my students. You know, I just saw all the career and college pathways, man. And I was like, I don't think nobody else is looking at it the way I'm looking at this thing.
Helps us quite a bit.
I fell off. I fell. I'm sorry.
Oh,
that's
that's
dumb.
okay.
That's first of
That
all,
happens.
that's dumb that they have a place to. My kill cam is me. Dadgummit. Yeah, that happens in pro Overwatch. Your kill cam is yourself. Oh, I fell off the freaking thing again.
There we go.
Oh, I don't even know how to do that. I don't know. Okay. Oh no, did you die? Oh my god. Oh gosh.
Get your school into the high school esports league community. It's complete.
I think those conversations are important to normalize that it's not okay, because as long as you keep saying like this is not okay, then tell me what is okay. And then having those strong females within the gaming space is also definitely a move in the right direction.
I feel like my games were a little easier earlier when I had my lobbies. Pretty sure.
Well, those were bot lobbies. So.
Those were bot lobbies.
They didn't think they could be here. They thought it was just a boys' game, or, you know, they weren't comfortable. They didn't want to compete. You know, that really highlighted the fact that we've got to make it more inclusive for girls. We have to make welcoming, open environments. We have to give them champions and examples of mentors that they can see and that they can be. And despite whatever culture or society says, they absolutely are a part of this world, and they can absolutely make a difference in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, art.
So this was a Kickstarter project, correct?
Yeah, so, you know, I scraped money together on my own when we went up to Kickstarter.
At what point would we say they move from club to designated under the school's banner?
Obviously, it's going to come from support staff. Having a director of a program and then having per game coaches, I think, is a great way to help with that.
You know, the parent interaction is a big part of it, you know, especially for somebody who's in this industry and, you know, fought to try and be here. What I see is, you know, what I strive for is to show parents that gaming is a legitimate way to create a career for yourself, right? And these tournaments do that.
Is when it comes to character creators, the disabled community is not really represented in the game itself. That was something that we wanted to attack on our way in. So one of the first things we ever built was this character creator. We call them enhancements. So the wheelchairs, you've got different prosthetic,
different eye colors as well.
Heterochromia, different color eyes is heterochromia, which is like super common.
Oh, on this one, you shoot his legs out and then he like falls over and okay, he disappeared for some reason. Okay.
It's one of my favorite things about Apex is I can do absolutely nothing in this period right here.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, look at this, I'm flying. This reminds me of Kingdom Hearts, which have you ever played Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah. My 9-year-old big fan.
So I won victory. Dad dab. Yes. I'm over here hitting R like I'm reloading my gun accidentally for some reason. I have no idea. Or C to crouch and...
I said, so, hey, have you heard about esports and how it's benefiting schools and how it's doing all this for students? And they said, I've heard some of it. Well, did you know that it's happening right now and it's something that you guys can jump on board with?
So I was a sergeant. I was an E5. Seeing the work that we were doing with the kids and seeing like, hey, this is something that we can really build and make a positive influence on the kids that we're working with.
Particularly, Bubba, here's my big thing, particularly people who look like me.
Yeah.
In the educational technology space and in the esports space, because I said that it's being underserved. I need for directors, I need for teachers, I need for students, I need for anybody to, when I'm talking to them, they say, oh, whoa. And they may not say it, but I know sometimes they're thinking it, well, there's this African American, there's this black man in this space talking esports, talking educational technology. We may have not seen that before, and that's important.
Like as you said earlier, you mentioned like a parent asking about esports challenges for their kid. I think that's like wonderful. Like how many parents back in the day actually had interest in gaming when it's not like, academically viable.
And so I reached out to Mike and Christy. Their contact information was on there. I found them through High School Esports League, which was our league, coincidentally. Christy answered my email and she was like, you've got some technical questions. I'm gonna loop Mike in on this.
Of course.
It was just the best meeting I've ever had.
Hey, I know you're already going to be here for the tennis tournament. You got to come by, dude. Take 15 minutes out of the tennis tournament, come inside, get a breath of the air-conditioned air, and just come see what my kids are doing. And that's all it took. They just had to see it with their own eyes. Oh, these are the kids that are playing in esports. It was the kids who ate lunch by themselves, the kids with no friends, the kids, we were worried about them dropping out of school, but hey, you know what? They came to school on Friday because they wanted to play Super Smash Brothers in the library.
My name's Kyle Mullins. I'm the youth pastor and work with 6th through 12th graders. It's probably where we started spending the most time together is when we went to China and put on a soccer camp. And then got into streaming a couple months ago between my fumbling through the world and gaming all of my life, but now fumbling into streaming and stuff.
One thing that's really important to me is the kids learn to be positive influence, to not be toxic. I've seen kids get really mean and be bullies.
If the industry truly wants to actually serve these communities, and it's going to come from the publisher down, we're going to have to provide support behind titles that can be played on the platform that these communities can actually have access to. It comes from the publisher down, it's just the empathy comes from the businesses and the consumers down.
You know what? Let me in front of you. Let me be your shield, and that way you don't die as quick.
In addition, I think one of the more exciting things I got to do is I got to be one of the official co-streamers for the Overwatch League opening day this past season.
Well, my background's actually in acting. I went to school for musical theater back in the day. I don't think I can talk and clean. It's very complicated.
All good things sometimes must come to an end. I'm actually leaving the world of education.
What?
Yep, big reveal. 6 days. I'm actually in conversations right now about my next steps.
This was announced officially here in the public on the show. Were you a CIA agent? I just have to ask you.
I was not. I did work in the Bureau of Intelligence and Research.
Yeah. Oh crap! Oh crap!
Oh no! Well, it looks like.
I should have stayed so close to the edge.
ESA is the voice and advocate for the video game industry in the United States.
And we're really lucky in that we get to stay really mission driven and stay focused on the impact that this is having on students and schools. We don't really need to get into the nitty gritty of the numbers, which is, I think the thing is like an educator you probably fear when you're leaving the classroom.
If you'd like to be on invite sent to be interviewed and play video games, please go to bubbagatter.com and request to be on the show. And I'll let you know if the invite is sent.
Oh my god.
Trade.
Yeah. Come on in, big guy. Come on. You won't.
How do you heal and how do you live? What?
He threw a black hole at us like Thanos. You can't. That's not a button. I don't have that button.
I don't have that button either. Good morning, gamers. Good morning, gamers. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks all those that are on Twitch and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. Thank you all for being here. I was messing around with Instagram the other day, and I think I might put us on Instagram sometime in the future as well, and potentially even TikTok if I get enough followers, which I probably won't. So we're here. And today is a fun day on Good Morning Gamers, where we are going to be looking at the history of video games. I've got a bunch of stuff pulled up. I've been researching this and having a ton of fun researching it over the past year and trying to be smarter with it all. But I also have a very special guest we're going to bring in today, who's going to educate us via his amazing intellect and his ability to research. And I think I'm going to use this word, dissertate. No, that's not right. Have a dissertation done on things like video games and esports. But before we do that, I'm gonna just walk you through. We've had a couple episodes this week, and I think my stream deck is working now. Booyah! So if you haven't been around this week, we have been doing some different Good Morning Gamer shows where we talked about gaming addiction, Scholastic Esports. We did artificial intelligence last week. We had Brian Custer on Monday, and we talked about mental health and trauma. And then yesterday, 2 days ago, we talked about metaverse, or maybe that was yesterday. I honestly have lost track what we've done this week, but we've had some fun games. I think yesterday I was talking about ADHD. Wow, that's proof positive that I have it, that I don't even remember what the heck we were doing yesterday. And then today we're talking about the history of video games. But if you'd love to come back or you'd love to be on the show, please shoot me a DM. I'd love to have you on the show, either this show or Invite Sent, which is the other show we do. And coming up in the new year, we'll have Danielle Johnson from TechSef playing Animal Crossing. And we're going to have Nichol. He is here in Kansas City. He runs a pretty cool organization with coding for students, and I'd love to connect him with my guest today. We're going to have Nick Kenobi, or Obi-Wan Nick Obi. There we go. Play some Fortnite. We'll have Casey from D&H plays in League of Legends. I'm super pumped about Adam Reimer, who used to be the CEO of Optic Gaming. He's going to be on the show playing Fortnite. There will be Cassie and Jackie from GGWP. That is Good Game Well Played, their academy out of Australia. Donna from Cal State Esports Collective, I think is what it's called. Check her out. Then we have Wallace Santos from Main Gear. He's going to come on the show. Thanks, Peter Muller, for connecting that so we could have Wallace, and he's done some really cool stuff with Shroud, the biggest gamer in the world, and done some cool stuff. I just got word from Josh Otero. We're doing a show in March. He is with Warrior Gamer Foundation. MZ, she is a e-football player. Okay, you may think, oh, okay, this is, what is this, Madden or FIFA? It's just Europe's version of FIFA, and she is a professional, and she's Olympian, and she's going to be on the show. And also, one of the guests today is one of these people right here. We're going to have Christy and Mike from Generation Esports on February 1st, and we're going to play some Uno. It's going to be fun, because I want to get a variety of games. If you've seen over the time, I've played a lot of Fortnite and a lot of League of Legends, and I'd love to, that's why I'm trying new games. So that's going to be happening in the next few months, and if you'd like to be on the show, I still have actually a few more, just to let you know. We're going to have a few more folks that aren't posted yet. We are going to have, her name is Shell's Boogie. She is a streamer who won the esports, not the esports award, but the Game Hers award for Coach of the Year. She's going to be on the show in February, as well as Karen Kiona Smith will be on the show in March. And we have a few slots left open in March and February. If you'd like to be on the show, please hit me up. I'd love to have you. Send you invite, because it's invite sent. We'll play some games. See what I did there? Okay, we're going to bring in our amazing guest today, who is going to educate us a little bit on the history of video games. And if you're here please feel free to talk in the chat, ask questions in the chat. I would consider my guest more of an expert than I am on this because he's done real expert type stuff with it. But I'm going to bring in my guest today, Mr. Dr. Michael Russell. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Bubba. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening in as I did my, hey, YouTubers, welcome, like and subscribe stuff for the first 8 minutes. But
Hey,
thank
I
you.
get it.
I like that shirt. That's a cool shirt.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
I wish I get this cool swag you guys got.
I wish I could say I liked your shirt, but I don't.
Oh, are you not a Chiefs fan?
No.
What are
no.
you? Broncos?
I'm a Cowboys fan.
Cowboys. Oh, that's right.
That's a whole family thing. I couldn't like
Uh-huh.
the Chiefs because my dad likes the Chiefs, and that's just how I am.
If your virtual background was off, I would see a lot of Cowboy stuff in the background, right?
Yes, you would.
That you're in your basement on your computer in there, right?
Yes.
Where
yeah,
that is.
this is-
Nice.
This is where I do my best typing work, so I'm trying to type on books right now. So
nice.
Upstairs, I get too distracted, so down here.
Working
is where
on
all
that
the
gaming
stuff happens.
concepts curriculum, I hear.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Oh
working
man,
on 3 new books.
I want to ask you about that in a second, but I did like the Cowboys in the 90s because I grew up in Oklahoma, and I know we've had this conversation. And I met Emmett Smith a while back, and we had that conversation back in Houston back in 2019.
Nice.
So yeah, I did like the Cowboys growing up, and
Yeah.
Troy Aikman from Oklahoma. I'm from Oklahoma. It just fit.
My high school years were really good. The Cowboys won a lot, and it was nice. But
They
since
were good.
then, it's been pretty dismal. So
I
maybe this year will be better.
Only thing I remember games against the Bills, and then from that time when the Bills played in the Super Bowl with the Cowboys or whatever it was, up till about 2 years ago, I forgot the Bills were a team.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
And you remembered when they were a team when they beat the Chiefs, right?
Did they do that this year or last year, or
It
when
might
they
have
do
been
that
last year, right?
I
don't
yeah,
know.
I don't.
Whatever.
I'm a transplant, so I don't keep track of everything, but I do
Okay.
like watching the Chiefs.
I do like your hat though.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
Oh, that's from. Oh, thanks. Use code MisfitBubba at misfitnation.com. You can donate to charity when you order some swag from Misfit Nation, which is based out of here in Kansas City, and it's fun. Thank you for that.
Betcha.
Hey, tell me a little bit about the gaming concepts curriculum. I love to hear about what you guys have done, kind of a little bit about where it started. Quick little rundown of that, why it's been so amazing, why people have adopted your free version back 5 years ago starting, and what you're doing now and what you've been doing the past year with the gaming concepts, and then what's to come. Can you tell me more about that line of gaming concepts through the years?
All in 2 minutes or
Yes,
less.
ready,
Got it.
set, you have this floor.
Okay, here we go. Time me. Yeah, the gaming concept started about 2016 is when we got that started. Dr. Custer and I, Christy, built that course. It was the first 4-credit gaming course taught in the United States, as far as we know. Until I hear otherwise, we're going to use that as our claim to fame. So we designed it. Basically, it came from a passion of mine growing up as a gamer. A lot of folks, I heard a lot of disparaging remarks about that in my life, so people didn't really think anything would happen with that. So kind of grew out of that, and I knew there was value in games and video gamings and being around folks who were also interested in that. So we thought we'd give it a shot in the academic setting, and done quite well with that. As far as we use it as a class. I was also the after school coach for our esports team, mainly Overwatch, because that was really the only thing I was good at. But definitely don't discourage people from learning that a game or picking that up for their students. It really is beneficial. That's a whole other story about the esports side of things as far as the after school part. But so we wrote that, and we met the folks at Generation Esports, which was High School Esports League at the time. And through their connections and through interest from them, we were able to make an introduction to Microsoft, and we had a free version of the curriculum that got put on their educator community and was downloaded 400,000 times in 40 countries, and thought we might be onto something here. So we continued to utilize that book for a couple years, and finally in August of 21, we joined Generation Esports to create curriculum. So we basically revamped the entire first book, which we now call Fundamentals. And then we have our second book, which is Interactive Media. And then we have our third book, which was not really on the roadmap, but the demand for it was so high, we made it a priority to get it done, and worked with Dr. Chris Jensen and Heidi Albin actually on that one of our good teacher friends that we had from Complete High School, amazing writer, and she was excellent in that. We kind of made a gamified middle school course, kind of just again because the need was there. So now what we have in the works, we have a streaming/speech course. So we find a lot of kids, and myself included at the time when I was in high school, don't love speech, but just put me in front of a camera and I'll talk all day. And same thing with we're doing a dedicated shoutcasting and journalism course, and that'll be coming out. We'll probably have that completed in March. And then we have a cybersecurity course that's on the roadmap to be completed in August. And then beyond that, we will have a third level course, which will kind of be the capstone course for the original gaming concepts courses. So yeah, got a lot going on.
Definitely. And Kyle in the chat, yes, it does sound dope. This is what I get to do every day, man. I get to have fun with people like Mike and talk about video games, talk about how we help students. And get things board reviewed and expertised and stuff. So you wrote
IRB is what we use the term.
IRB board reviewed, which happens quite often with things you do because you do good things.
Yeah. If you've written a dissertation, you've been through the IRB process. That's just part of it. So
that's crazy that
part of it.
People would just think that things aren't reviewed.
I know, shocking.
Sad. Like, don't have things to do with your life. So what I want to jump into is a little bit about that, because you wrote a dissertation that was done earlier this year. When did you finish? Earlier this year?
I finished in March of 21.
Oh, wow. Gosh, time flies.
Oh, yes. I know. It goes fast.
Oh, my gosh. I forgot. And you became Dr. Michael Russell.
Yes.
And tell us about your dissertation real quick, just the main points, because I know there's a lot, just the big points around it.
Yeah, I'll make it short and sweet. So my actual dissertation was on basically student attendance and engagement among kids using a high school esport or scholastic gaming curriculum. So, but the part that was difficult about it is there's not a lot of data about those things. I mean, really, it's a very small pocket of information. So, as part of my lit review, which is chapter 2 of your dissertation, for those of you who want to know that, there's a lot of basically did a history of video gaming and how it evolved in esports and everything. So I have basically researched that all the way through from the first game maybe not the first game you're going to mention, but the first true video game that I consider a true video game. And then goes all the way through kind of how esports evolved and grew and where it happened and how we got to where we are now. So
that is good. So you have some expertise because you wrote an IBR reviewed dissertation that peer reviewed and said, yeah, you're right. We looked at this and said, oh, what you found is right. So you mentioned the first video game, and we were talking earlier before the show about different books that have come out that I've been reading over the past year about when and where and what first video games. And the first chapter in this book called The History of Video Games, 64 Objects. I'm going to put it on the screen here. This was written with the help of the World Video Game Hall of Fame, and it's a really good book. And the first chapters talk about how pinball had set up the first video game, which is what was it? What's the first video game on record, Mike Russell?
Tennis for Two, 1958.
Tennis for Two, 1958. And how this book talks about how pinball and the stigma around pinball penny arcades with machines and jukeboxes were the bane of the existence, and they weren't what any young, deserving Christian man would go to, and something like that. And yes, Andrew Lombardo on LinkedIn, ping pong, yes, Atari ping pong. And what year was ping pong? We figured out 1978 or so?
72, right?
72.
1972 was Pong. Yeah.
So Pong, we found out, and in 1972. Tennis for Two, way before that, was 1958, the first video game. And they'll actually close down what this book talks about. This book looks at 64 different games from all the way back from, that's right, 1972, all the way back from Tennis for Two up to new games. It actually was written, this book was written maybe a year or two ago, 2018. So whatever, Halo 5 was probably out then, and League of Legends, and there was newer games. So things like Fortnite were just on there, right?
Mhm.
So it's a very, very good book, has a lot of good stuff. There's another couple good books that I've been looking at too. Game On, the video game history. And there's one more, it's somewhere. I'll have to find it later, but there's some really good books out there on the history of video games. There's a ton. But Tennis for Two was the first video game, and it was done in New York. There's some people at a college, right? So I look at the Video Game Hall of Fame, and they talk about the 40s and how there were different computers being built over the years to set up video games. In the 50s, the military was using these big, if you've ever seen war games out there, you will think, yes, the military was using war gaming computers to play games, to figure things out. They had it playing chess. What isn't these videos of the computer playing chess? I mean, these are big deal. These are big deal and very, very relevant. But yeah, 1958, Tennis for Two was created, which built up the idea of having Pong later. Now, Mike, from what you study and what you've written, why was Tennis for Two such a pivotal point in video games?
I think it was really the first time that they had ever used kind of technology to develop a game. So like, and it was built into, a cathode ray tube, and you could actually see the visible things happening in the computer, like in the actual game itself. Whereas like the examples you're showing of chess were like, yes, you're teaching it, but you could see the guy there was still having to move the pieces around the board. So the computer would tell him, where to move those, but it wasn't visible. Like there wasn't a chessboard on the screen. So, really Tennis for Two, that machine was tore down after 2 years. So it was basically an experiment that I don't think actually went very well. People didn't respond to it, and it got picked up later as some other things, but not, I wouldn't say a super success, but obviously a very pivotal start to where we got to where we are now with gaming and all the technology involved. So I mean, just imagine the expense of building that game, right? I mean, those computers you're showing are as big as my house sometimes. They're just gigantic. So
right. Well, we look at Tennis for Two, and it's a great segue. Really, I'm gonna have the audiobook play next chapter 4, and I'm gonna listen. And I don't know if you can hear it. You won't be able to hear it here, but let's see. It's gonna tell us the next game here.
John Ferguson's baseball game. 1960.
1960. John Ferguson's baseball game, 1960, and it goes on to talk about that being one of those. You know what? Let's look it up. Let's actually look it up. John Ferguson baseball game. Okay, that's not gonna find me the right thing. let's re-listen to this here.
John Ferguson's baseball game.
Baseball
1960.
Game. 1960.
There were numerous pen and paper.
Okay, so 1960. Let's find that. Baseball game. It's not finding it right away, but I do remember it talking a little bit about what it was. Let's go on to the next video game here, and if I can get to the right spot, let's see what it says.
Digicom Computer, 1963.
Digicom Computer, 1963. Okay, let's look up Digicom Computer, 1963. And okay, Digicomp. Oh man, look at this thing. Look at this thing. Look at this computer being built. This is a computer, y'all. This reminds me of like Mayans and Aztecs making computer kind of mentality. I don't know why, like an abacus or something.
Right.
But yes, it was a kit, and it was a mechanical digital computer, 1963. So then it had the ability to do game. What they talk about as you go forward into these games, I learned, and you can help me understand this, is there were cards that were put in to play games. And let's see what we have next here. I keep going the wrong slide.
In fact, that becomes a big problem later, like in the 80s with Atari, because engineers got smart and figured out they could adapt the machines to do different things. And so they were changing the Atari games, and it ended up in a kind of a lawsuit situation.
Oh,
they
interesting.
were changing the games and reselling the games without Atari getting a benefit of it.
I do recall hearing about that. Let's see what.
Yeah.
Ralph Burr's Brown
That's
Box.
much later after
Sumerian
much
game,
later in this,
1964.
Sumerian game, 1964. Let's see. What is the game you talk about?
Space War is definitely
probably
the one everyone will know from 1962. That's the one that was created by MIT student Steve Russell. No relation, sadly.
You talk about King of the Ransom Stones, or what the heck is the thing on my intro?
Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
There we go.
that's a Nintendo game. That's 80s.
That's 80s, right?
Yeah.
So Space War in 1962. Yes, look at this. Look at this, guys. If you were around in the 60s, anyone, Andrew, let's see, I don't know, got him. If you were around back then, there was TV screens like this. I was just rewatching the movie about Apple founder Steve Jobs, right? Jobs,
Yep.
The one with this was the one with Josh Gad and Ashton Kutcher, and I loved watching how they made a computer, right? Yes, Andrew.
Yeah.
And it was pretty fun to see that happening, and how they sold them, and the storyline of how he got them to buy, like the little shop to buy those computers, and how it turned into something different was fun. So MIT, we're getting through the history here of video games. If you're just checking in, I've got Dr. Mike Russell. We are talking about the history of video games, just kind of going through a few things back in the 50s and 60s. And Andrew Lombardo says he was 4th grade in 1964. Okay, then. What were you, 9, 10? 9, 10? So
Definitely
you're around.
Definitely could have played some Space War.
You definitely were playing Space War in 2nd grade. Kyle on on Twitch says, where can you stream Jobs right now? I always meant to watch. Steve Jobs. Ooh, you can actually. It's Jobs Ashton Kutcher stream online. I'm talking on a different page here. It looks like on Amazon Prime, or nope, not Amazon. It might be Netflix. I don't know. I usually type in where can I watch this movie. Yep, you were 10. That's right, Andrew. Okay, let's see what they say for Chapter 7 here.
Ralph Burr's Brown Box, 1967.
Ralph Burr's Brown Box, 1957. Okay, Ralph Burr's Brown Box, 1967. Okay, Brown Box. So this is looking pretty cool right here. Oh, it's in the museum. Let's see if we can get a photo. Look at this piece of work.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you've got two little dials, two little dials here. Right hand player. This must be left hand player. I don't know. It's so serve. So maybe it was a tennis game.
You would have two. You would use both like this.
Yeah, you would. That's really cool. Okay, let's see what we got next here.
Nintendo Love Tester, 1969.
Nintendo Love Tester. Yes, I do remember it. Nintendo Love Tester. Okay, this was, I do remember hearing about this. Oh my gosh, there's a Nintendo Love commercial. Oh my. You can't hear the audio, but It is very good. It is very good. Okay, so this obviously the basis of Nintendo is Japanese. Japanese, Japanese.
Yeah.
Which Nintendo will come into play here. Which somebody was talking about it in the other day on one of my things. I can't wait to hear about the Nintendo how it started out as a card game.
Yes.
So Andrew Lombardo on LinkedIn you still had black and white TV until 1968. Had 3 channels and the remote was me going to the TV and changing the channel. Yeah, you heard the audio, Andrew, but Mike's on a different thing. He can't hear my audio unless he watches the stream too.
No.
So okay, Love Tester. All right, let's see.
Computer Space, 1971.
Computer Space, 1971. Computer Space. Space, 1971. Okay, let's see what this one looks like. Ooh, look at all this. Computer Space. Look at this. Look at the. Oh my gosh! Look at that cabinet. Look at that cabinet. That is
They put some thought into
ridiculous.
That thing, yeah. Wow,
That's
fancy.
got to be like fiberglass, something.
Yeah, I would imagine that'd be
Like
hard
this-
to make out of wood.
Yeah, it's the same thing you make a boat out of, probably. I don't know.
You probably just
Oh.
made a mold. And
Yeah,
cast
look
it.
at here. This has to be. This is like a photo of actually it there in 1971. Yeah, Commodore. Or this is a Hall of Fame picture. This image is too nice. It's probably showing a bunch of them together. This is crazy. Computer Space. That is just a really, really cool cabinet. That one's going to stick with me mentally.
Was that in 1971? you said?
1971 it says, yep.
The big one in 1971. Everybody's gonna know this.
Mhm.
It's a big one. Oregon Trail.
Oregon.
1971.
Who has played Oregon Trail in the chat? Please talk about how you've played Oregon Trail on some device or even we have a board game version of it. Let's see if they go to it next.
The Oregon Trail,
Oregon Trail.
1970.
1971.
There it
That's
is.
what it was.
Yep.
So Oregon Trail, there's got to be some memes for you died of dysentery.
Yep.
But yes, Oregon Trail is, I think Christy mentions this one for sure as like the last video game she played. Got her. God, man, we're just getting all
Probably,
these people.
It was actually probably Pac-Man for her. She
Pac-Man?
does play Pac-Man.
Pac-Man's later. We'll definitely find out. Shannon Lee. Hey, Shannon, how are you? On LinkedIn. I remember playing Oregon Trail on PC in 4th grade. Oh, Christy Custer. I died. Yes. Yes, that was either Pac-Man, either Pac-Man or Oregon Trail back in 1981.
Well,
That was
the
the year
other-
before
the
I was
other one that
born.
was real popular, at least in school for me, that I
Mhm.
remember playing a lot because I never wanted to pay attention in school. I wanted to be on the
Mhm.
computer. Was
Sure.
Lemonade Stand.
Lemonade Stand. Okay,
Lots
we'll
of
look at that one.
Lemonade Stand played
Wait,
at school.
Lemonade Stand computer.
And I
game.
think it was in like 1973.
Andrew Lombardo says that was my high school nickname in 1970, the Love Tester.
Oh my gosh, Andrew!
This is family friendly. This is family friendly.
Can't talk like that.
Okay, so Lemonade Stand, was this you?
Oh yeah,
Is this
lemonade
it? Is
stand
this
was great.
this
Like, you had to
one
open up
right
your own
here?
Lemonade stand. You had to buy lemons and sugar. And,
Copyright 1979. Then copyright 90. So they redid this one.
Yeah.
So I
But it
guess this
rained
was
yeah,
more of it. These text-based adventure games, man. Ready Player One just got me even more hooked on playing those again because my dad worked at Radio Shack, when I was a kid, and
yeah.
these text-based adventure games on the Tandy 1000, and I believe we had a Commodore there as well at Radio Shack, but also Atari games as well. And I played with remote control cars mostly. And then my favorite really games growing up were the Sierra line of like Police Quest and King's Quest, which I don't know if they mention them here on this, but in the chat, Christy Custer, Lemonade Stand is her favorite. Andrew, Love is family friendly. Yeah, okay, so Andrew, there must have been a different version of Love Tester as your nickname that you're not going to say because this is family friendly. Don't even put it in the chat. All right, we'll go to the next chapter and let's see what they say.
Space War.
Space
Fanatic
War.
life and symbolic death
You've
among
got
the
that
computer
one.
bombs.
We did that one. Space War.
Magnavox Odyssey, 1972.
Magnavox Odyssey. Magnavox.
I remember that.
Magnavox. Ooh, did I spell it right? Man, way to go. No, I didn't. Interesting. Okay, I remember seeing this one. Look at these photos. I do remember seeing these. Look at playing Magnavox Odyssey football. Yeah, look at that. Oh my, these
on your TV that weighs 300 pounds.
On your TV that you would have to move in just as much as you did your big dresser or your armoire.
Yep.
Oh wow, look at these. This is crazy. So these kids, let's see, they were playing it by just turning a dial. Here we go. This is fun. We're spinning a button. It's 1972, y'all. Oh wow.
We're playing as a family, which is
oh my
great.
gosh, they're playing as a family. You know, Wii commercials, they had that playing as a family going on. And Switch has those commercials for sure. But yes. Wow. These are great. Okay, let's see what we got next.
Magnavox Mini Theater, 1970.
Magnavox Mini Theater. Mini Theater. Okay, look at this. It looks like what's the thing in the what's the microfiche?
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it like a looking through a microfiche roll at the library? I wonder.
Wow. That's
Mini
I don't know what that would be like.
But look, there's like tape here.
Yep.
Maybe I should just
what they have the game on is on the
see
tape,
what it says here. Or a demonstration, maybe. Okay. So yeah, it used introduce home video games to the American public. 8mm film presented on the Odyssey. Okay, so it was a part of their line. Okay, that's great.
Pong. 1972.
1972. There it is. Pong. 1972. The hype around, I think, most people saying, oh gosh, Pong, first video game, and a lot of people putting that as the first video game, it stinks because it's wrong. And if we look at the history of video games here, let's go back here. We're in the 60s. We go a little bit back to the 60s. Andrew, 1972 fall, college freshman. No more time for games. Had to study.
I think maybe, Bubba, that has a lot to do with, in 1972, there was no internet, right? So people were late. This was the first video game I played, so it must have been the first video game. Who else would have made Pong, right? Like they wouldn't imagine 14 years ago. I have this home entertainment thing that I can play Pong on, or it's available, So I now we have the internet, so we can fact check everything. Believe me, I know, because I have some fact checkers on this stream right now, I'm sure, that are checking every fact I say right now. But I think that might be part of why people have the perception that it is the first video game, is because they wouldn't have known about, tennis for two.
Right. Well, and I think about back then. I mean, you had to mail a letter to find out information. Yeah. Or attach it to a crow.
Or read the newspaper.
Who
does that?
So we did these. So we went through the 60s. We had this brown box. Let me zoom out a little bit here so I can use it at the same time. Odyssey, brown box. Let's see, 1965, they talk about Dartmouth using the football game, which I think we covered. Yep. In BASIC. Wait, BASIC's been around since the 60s? I honestly loved building stuff in BASIC, and when I was younger, I don't know why, it was just fun.
Yeah.
But I didn't ever go all deep into it to see how much I could do. But maybe that's why I don't code now. Okay. We were in the 70s, but let me go up to the 70s here from the Video Game Hall of Fame website. Oregon Trail, we just covered that. And Pong, we're right there. So it's saying we have basic computer games and Maze Wars coming up. Let's see how it goes here on this next chapter.
101 basic computer games.
101 basic computer games. There it was, right there.
There it was.
So basic computer games. Let's see. I'm just going to listen in real quick here. For
1973. People learn best through play. David.
Okay. Yeah. This book is really good. I really recommend this History of Video Games 64 Objects. Okay. Go next. Chat.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. Oh my! What year?
1974.
1974. So it's saying. Oh, I see. So Dungeons and Dragons. Interesting. I actually the other night my kid had a Boy Scout lock-in, and so the kids were playing Dungeons and Dragons. They have a Dungeons and Dragons club at their school, and then they go to the library to do it, and they're all middle schoolers. And I was like, man, I wonder if I can get a Chat GPT and the AI to write me a Dungeon Master's story, and it wrote me a story. I thought that was cool. and my real experience with Dungeons and Dragons is really my brother playing it in the back room of a comic book shop.
Yeah.
And playing Magic. 70 something? Okay. Double and Dragons. Come on, man. It's because I talked to us playing Double Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons. What my experience there was really only Dungeons and Dragons of the stigma, right? Growing up, like, Dungeons and Dragons, this is the nerds playing it, right? And I didn't really understand it was just reading until Stranger Things. That's how much I didn't know about Dungeons and Dragons. I thought it was a dice game only. It's really where
Look what happened to those kids in Stranger Things. I mean,
they saved the world.
Dungeons and Dragons did that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, did you watch last season? Why you watching that?
I didn't. I've only watched up to season 3, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I think this season, last year's season, the first part of it, it's basically why the town is bad, and the religious folks are out saying this is causing the devil and all this stuff, and it was a really, really good conversation to start actually in society again. And I don't know if because of that now our library has it and our kids have it, but Andrew Lombardo had friends in college learning Cobble and Fortan when Dungeons and Dragons came out. We heard it was evil right next to the Ouija boards.
Yeah.
Yep. So Dungeons and Dragons, and I think it's cool now. I think it's pretty cool because I didn't know.
Home Pong.
Home
1975.
Pong. Okay, we saw that. Home Pong, history of video game. Right here, the home base version. Oh, we got a lot of stuff in the 70s coming. Let's see. Let's keep going.
Breakout. 1976.
Breakout, 1976. Mm-hmm. Breakout. 1976. Adventure. Oh, Adventure. That's the big one. Here, next. I think it should be.
Fairchild Channel F. 1976.
Fairchild.
Death Race. 1976. Atari Video Computer System.
Okay, well, they're on to Atari. So they're here. So Adventure, though. Adventure is definitely mentioned in the book Ready Player One. Adventure game, 1976 or something. And it was text-based.
Yep.
But the one they show in the game where the key, the Easter egg, right? Adventure game Easter egg, where you go to a certain place and you have to take a key back, and this was the Easter egg he put in, the designer, where only if you used it correctly would it be able to show up. And taken a key and gone blindly to somewhere else, which they talk about Pac-Man being the last level of that as well, where you had to find stuff.
Mattel Football.
Mattel Football, 1977. All right. So as we're going through here, your research, your study, in your dissertation, what were you talking about in the 60s and 70s in your dissertation?
So I didn't do a ton in the 60s. I just kind of did an intro like from the 50s, and then there wasn't a lot in the 60s. So I got into the 70s, and one I think you're probably going to hit on here pretty quick is Channel F, which will be
it did. Yeah, I did.
That'll be in there, which, you know, the fact that not many people know who designed that is kind of tragic, actually, because, you know, he really changed the entire industry. I mean, Jerry Lawson was the man when it came. I mean, he built that in his garage. It was the first cartridge game system that had ever been created, and of course, not many people know what Channel F is, but everybody
Mhm.
knows what Atari is, and that's
Mhm.
essentially what the Atari is the Channel F. So, and
Yes.
I don't know the specifics behind all of that, but I mean, he was an engineer. He's 6'6", big guy. Was an engineer in Silicon Valley when Silicon Valley was nothing. It was like, farmland, most of it.
Okay.
And built that in his garage, and unfortunately never really, I don't think, got the recognition he deserved for it. So
Well, they did a nice thing on YouTube. I'm sorry, on Google the other day.
yeah, I did.
Had
I saw that.
back
That
up.
was awesome.
And my son
Yeah.
created a game, and let's see. Let's do a little quick video here.
The Wise Channel celebrates African Americans who did amazing things.
Can you guess the name I'm thinking
This is
about?
fun.
Okay, give me a hint. Video games. PlayStation? No. Xbox? No. Nintendo Switch? No. iPhone? No. iPad? No. I don't know. Tell me. Jerry Lawson. Oh, Jerry. Who in the world is Jerry Lawson? Jerry Lawson is a video game pioneer who helped change gaming forever. Dramatic, yet
Dramatic.
interesting. Please go on. Jerry Lawson knew he wanted to do something great ever since he learned about his favorite inventor, George Washington Carver.
George
in
Washington
first
Carver,
grade.
inventor. Okay.
Oh, you mean Peanut Man? I know him. He created hundreds of inventions out of peanuts. And Jerry Lawson made inventions out of electronics. He was one of the first African American engineers to design video games.
I love using the bit.
All right, Jerry!
These kids.
In the 1970s, video games were brand new and each gaming system only had one game on it. In order to play a new game, you had to buy a whole
In
new
order to play a
gaming
new game,
system.
you had to buy a new system.
What the
Okay.
world? I know. Can you imagine having to buy a new PlayStation or Xbox every time you want to play a new game? That's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But in 1976, Jerry
The
Lawson
cartridges.
led a team that designed this game console. What is that? PlayStation -5? No, that's a Fairchild Channel F game
These
console
kids.
that he helped design. Jerry Lawson invented a way for video games to be stored on a game cartridge you can put into and take out of a console. You mean like a game disc? Exactly. He made it so you didn't have to buy a whole new system just to play a different game. So you're telling me Jerry Lawson invented the first modern video game system? Yep. It changed gaming forever? Yep. So the next time you play a
These
video
kids.
game, remember to thank Jerry Lawson. Jerry Lawson, I love you, man.
Let's talk.
Oh,
George
gosh. These kids, those fun. I don't know if you're watching another channel or on your phone or something or whatever. But have you ever seen the kid snippet videos where the kids tell the story of, I don't know, like the Christmas story, but then they have adults act it out and they pantomime what they're saying. So
No.
the adults are just moving their mouth along with what the kids say. So the
Mhm.
kids are just saying just really random stuff. So, sorry.
That
Sorry.
really, what Jerry did really made it accessible to everybody, and that, like when you bought Pong, all you bought was Pong.
Right.
Now you can buy this system, and now you can put different games in the cartridge, which is the model we still use, right? Even
Yeah.
though we buy everything digitally, we still buy one computer or one Xbox or one PlayStation, and we put a game on it. So
Let's see how many different games they have. Games. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Bowling, slot machine, drag race. That's incredible. So many different games that were created. To Jerry Lawson, we salute you. In the history of video games,
For sure.
thank you for creating the modern video game that so many of our lives depend on. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Okay, let's go to the next here. We're getting into the
Zork.
future.
1970.
Oh, Zork. Now that's a big one. Zork video game, right? What do you know about Zork? Anything?
I did not do anything on Zork.
I didn't play it as much, but I know they had a remake but this text adventure stuff. Dungeon Master. What I want to get to is Joust.
Simon.
Oh.
1978.
Simon, 1978. Simon.
4 colors. Space Invaders.
Space Invaders. So Simon, they were talking about the handheld game, right? Of the
Space Invaders was
Space
huge.
Invaders 1970 something or whatever year it said. Okay, Space Invaders Smithsonian. Oh yeah, so Space Invaders big. So in the book they do talk about the creator of this and why they needed specific there was issues in the game they're creating and why they had to add these here and why they had to do some sort of thing. Oh, thanks for that. I definitely have to reread it, but it was like almost by chance that they were able to. Okay, thank you for the pop up. By chance they created it.
That game is really when like the arcades really started to pop up all over the. They would have just buildings full of Space Invaders, like in the tabletop version too. But
yep, cabinet. Oh, look at this one.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day. Okay, let's see what's next.
Adventureland. 1978.
Adventureland. I don't remember that one. Adventureland 1978 says. Okay, another text-based adventure. Lots of text-based adventures, which are a pretty big deal.
Speak and Spell. 1978.
Speak and Spell.
Oh yeah.
Speak and Spell. Okay. That was called Speak and Spell. I called that something different growing up.
E.T.
Yeah, that's right. E.T. That's right.
E.T. phone home right there.
Let's see if we get a photo. E.T. movie. There he is right there. E.T.
Yep.
E.T. who gave me nightmares.
I cried in the movie. My dad makes fun of me still.
So look, they redid it. They remade it a couple years ago. Huh. Speak and Spell. Who has Speak and Spell in the chat? Or the original Leapfrog?
No, I didn't have
Leap Pad.
Asteroids.
Asteroids. 1979. Interesting.
I missed a lot of school because of that game.
I missed a lot of school because of this game.
I missed the bus quite often.
You were at the arcade?
Nope, I had it on my
at home
2600.
Whoa! So you got up in the morning, you played Asteroids, and you were late for the bus.
My parents went to work at 4:00, so I was up. I got myself up and got ready and played some games. And whoops! Sometimes you miss the bus. Sorry, that happens.
Oh man, that's a fun game. That is a fun game. Let's see what's next.
Ralph Burr's Light Anti-Tank Weapon. 1979.
Light anti-tank weapon.
Pac-Man.
Okay.
Pac-Man.
1980. All right, Christy. Here's the second game you ever played. Pac-Man 1980. Pac-Man Fever. That's what I want to play. Pac-Man Fever YouTube. I want to play the commercial. Because the Pac-Man Fever song, and I remember there being like a commercial or something. Let's see.
Because it was a good pop song.
Hey, I was always great.
Oh my.
But when I got this Pac-Man Fever album, I became
Okay. It doesn't like that screen anyways. So Pac-Man, man. You had one of those in your office? You had a Pac-Man or you had what was the thing before that? Asteroids?
Me?
Okay. Christy Custer on chat.
She has
Sorry.
Pac-Man in her house right now.
Oh, you have Pac-Man. Oh, in your office. Oh, yeah, that's right. Downstairs. That's right. Or wherever you are. Okay, Pac-Man. So what I was saying earlier about Pac-Man is in the book I learned, the Ready Player One, that the last level to get all the points, you have to do it by memory.
Missile Command. 1980.
Missile Command, 1980.
Yep.
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong, 1981. Now we're getting more familiar with stuff.
Utopia. 1981.
Utopia. I don't know what that is. Utopia, 1981. Ooh. Interesting. Do you remember this game at all?
I do not.
I like
that
it.
Game.
It almost reminds me of early Sim City. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, could be.
SimCity. I love SimCity.
That was a
River
great
Raid,
game.
1982.
River Raid, okay.
E.T., the extraterrestrial.
E.T. So this chapter is really good about E.T. the game and the game 1980 something because
82.
yeah
1982.
okay, so here's what it was. Here's the story in this on about this game. I think it was this one where they created like thousands of copies, but they're buried. They're buried somewhere.
They unburied them, but yes, they were buried in
Okay.
Arizona, I think.
Okay, let's see.
So
if
the story behind the game is
Mhm.
so ET came out, right? And they wanted to have a game ready for summer or for Christmas for people to buy at Christmas. So the guy made it in like 5 weeks. The whole game.
Right.
And it ended up being really not great. And he admits it's not great.
Yeah.
And they actually say that's kind of what triggered the downfall of the video games for a while was that.
So
was ET.
So it was the game was so bad or hard to play. That's what it was. It was hard to play. It was hard to accomplish the goals. And so they made a bunch of these, but they buried them. And it's like there's some, it gives some stat like in the book. Like this is the only, let me see what he says.
1982.
1982.
Atari's E.T. the Extraterrestrial did not cause the video game market crash of 1983,
didn't
but in its wake, the
cause.
reeling company dumped truckloads of its unsold products into an Alamogordo, New Mexico landfill. The town of Alamogordo donated to the Strong a mud-caked cartridge excavated from the dump sites. Have you...
So yeah, okay. So yeah, it was buried, man. It's crazy. But yeah, it goes into talking about why and what it does to the industry. But yes, let's go to the next one here.
One-on-one. Dr. J versus Larry
One-on-one.
Bird.
Dr. J versus Larry Bird. Oh my.
Oh.
One-on-one. Dr. J. So I remember playing Double Dribble. This was not it. This was before that. Oh my, look at those. Look at this. Look at this. These outfits.
Look at those shorts.
Look at those shorts. Let's see what's next.
Pinball construction set.
Pinball
1983.
construction set? No. Pinball construction set. Let's see. Oh.
Yeah, make
No,
your
that's
own
a
pinball
sales one.
game.
Oh, this is too new. I guess you can make your own pinball game. Huh. Let's see what we
King's
got
Quest.
next. King's
19
Quest. There we go.
Oh,
Now we're talking. King's Quest. Okay, if you did not play King's Quest, I've got the newer version too. I haven't played it very much. But King's Quest 1984. Let's go with that. I absolutely love King's Quest. This is the first one. But you would type in, so they're gonna type. You can move your character, but you would, let's say when you get to a spot you need to type, you would, okay, he's got to open the door. So down here at the bottom, he's gonna type, look, castle. The castle is da ba da ba da ba da, and then I think he says open door, maybe next. Oh yeah, he did open door. So if you think about this, everybody who's watching, you had to type in. This was good for, you know what this was good for? This was good for learning English.
Yep.
Right? People were learning how to type. Kids were learning how to type. So I mean, you who are an educator, of those, Andrew and Christy who are in the chat, yeah. Look at what video games can do. It's almost like they're educational.
Reading and typing.
Reading. Whoa, what do you know? Oh, this is an updated version of it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, King's Quest. I think King's Quest series, if I look at all of them, man, I probably had a favorite. This one where you were, let's look at the collection on Steam. The one where you were a servant to this wizard in like a castle, is what I remember. And really, golly, there's Romances Stone, all these. It's crazy. The Princess Bride. What? Who's next?
Tetris. 1984.
Tetris. Okay, what do you think about Tetris? How did Tetris fit into your dissertation?
Tetris was, I mean, I think that got more of your, I mean, if we could say that back in the day, casual gamer involved, you know, was kind of like the Candy Crush of the day.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I think when you got like moms and your sister wanted to play your Game Boy and you know, all those things. So I definitely think Tetris opened the door for a lot of people that
Mm-hmm.
may not have been interested in gaming, but this really, figuring out the puzzles and everything. But
Yeah.
it's definitely in there. It's a good one. I played a lot of Tetris.
Yeah. See what's next
Nintendo
here.
Entertainment System.
NES,
1985.
1985. Okay. Andrew loved Tetris. Casual gamer got me. Yep. NES 1985. Okay, here's what was your history with the NES? Was that
So
a big part of your
initially,
teenage years?
it was actually a failure. I mean, like they
Hmm.
didn't sell out all the units in New York when it first came out in 1985, so they were kind of sweating it. It sold enough, but then people started to play. Of course, Super Mario Brothers was the thing, right? But they had Duck Hunt, and the first it actually launched with 17 titles initially.
Okay.
Some notables were Duck Hunt, Pinball, Excite Bike, Donkey Kong Math Jr. Actually was on there. Then of course they added in, the cool thing about Nintendo that changed was the controller. Right?
Yeah,
You went from
here's
a
a
joystick and a button to now you've got a directional pad and two buttons and start and select and all those things
from the Atari button and
Yeah.
joystick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this early concept and
Yeah.
wow, like this, the D-pad, the buttons. I never actually have seen this before. This is new information to me. But here's
It was released in Japan before it wasn't
Mhm.
called NES. They
Yeah,
called
right.
it something else.
Let's see what they call. Well, yeah, Nintendo Entertainment System, but Nintendo, as goes on in the book, as we talked about, is Nintendo was a card game first. Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
But
Oh, this is crazy, man. What I'd like to see is like old Nintendo commercials on YouTube. Let's see. Oh my.
The incredible Nintendo
oh
Entertainment
yeah,
System.
There-
One to
I didn't
play
have the
with.
robot. We couldn't afford to get the
I
robot.
never knew it was a robot.
He helps
Oh,
you
yeah.
tackle
Or no,
even
I
the
remember it.
toughest challenge. Will you be the first to raise the incredibly
I did have
accurate
Duck Hunt,
zapper
though.
and
Did
play
have
games
that.
like Duck Hunt or action-packed Hogan's Alley and high-flying Kung Fu, each sold separately?
Kung Fu,
Will you
yeah.
be the one to
Kung Fu,
experience
yeah.
the Nintendo Entertainment?
Let's see. We got other commercials here. Oh, this one. Oh, it's got very mystical music.
Will it be you?
The TV is growing.
Will your family be the first to witness the birth of the incredible Nintendo Entertainment System? Will you be the first to see, to
The
touch,
robot, what?
to play with Rob, the extraordinary video robot? He
What?
follows the commands you put on
They had a
screen
game. They
to
had a
help you
couple games
tackle even
specifically
the
designed
toughest
so you
challenge.
spin up this
Will
thing
you
and
be
you
the
drop it and
first
it
to
drop.
raise the incredibly accurate
And
zapper
things would
and
happen
play
on the
games
screen
like
when you
Duck
dropped it
Hunt
at certain
and Hogan's
points,
Alley?
so.
The first to build a library of game packs like
I-
Kung Fu
Oh, yeah.
and golf,
I remember that.
even games like
Golf,
Ooh,
Excite
Excite Bike.
Program
Oh,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
I love
Will you
making
be the first
Excite
to
Bike
get all
rants.
this in one
Yes.
package?
Oh,
The
gosh.
Nintendo Entertainment System, where
that's a
video
long
technology
commercial.
is more than a game.
Yeah, it's
Or just
probably
repeated.
multiples.
So okay, first of all, I was playing Nintendo in in '85. I was playing it. I was 3. I'm pretty sure I was playing it. But I do not recall anything about this robot at all.
Really?
Yeah, man, it just does not. If anybody in the chat, Kyle, if you're still here, like that robot was not something I remember. And maybe it was, when did they stop marketing it? Because I just don't remember. But that is crazy. I feel like I remember these eyes, but I also had a little robot I could control with a corded controller. So I really, that blows my mind. It's just not something that rings a bell. It's crazy.
No, my Nintendo game was Zelda. Definitely, that's
Zelda.
what got me into
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what's next here.
Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario
1985.
Brothers, 85.
The Legend of Zelda.
Legend of
1986.
Zelda, 1986. So now, do you play Legend of Zelda still?
No, I do not. I haven't played. I haven't played on any of the new systems since NES.
Let's see. We've got all the different versions. 2D. Oh my! Look at this. the Famicom.
That's what the Nintendo used to be called.
Right.
In Japan, that's what it was called.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so we had all of those. This one right here is the big, more popular one on 64 and beyond. And before that, yeah. Woo! Zelda. I really love the new Zelda. A lot of fun.
I remember that game
NES
because it
hands-free
was the first game that I think I remember ever beating. Like, I actually beat the game.
Which Zelda? Which one?
The first one, Legend of Zelda.
Uh-huh.
I beat it, and spoiler alert, so if you're a big Legend of Zelda fan and you're going to go back and play the 1985 version, when you beat it the first time, there's a second level, and you have to go through it again, and it's different than the first level. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
What I remember is this right here. Actually, no, that's not the one. There it is.
The
right
gold
here.
case. Yeah.
The gold case. I remember that a lot.
Yeah.
And if you play Nintendo, if you blew on the cartridge, I had to set mine into the little slot and kind of push down before you pushed all the way in.
Yep.
Hey, Rasmus, hello, welcome on LinkedIn. How are you, sir? I don't know what time it is in Sweden, but thanks for being here.
It is probably about 6 p.m. over there in
6
Sweden.
p.m. Hey, thanks for being here.
6 or
Mike and
7.
I are looking at the history of video games. Let's see what's next after Zelda.
Prince of Persia.
Prince of
1989.
Persia. I love Prince of Persia,
Oh, yeah,
man.
that's a good one.
That was one of my favorites. Prince of Persia, NES. What I liked about this was, struggling on these little platforms to jump or whatever, or get the spikes. They've remade it multiple times, but I really loved Prince of Persia. Just the idea.
Made it in a movie too, I believe.
Yeah, with what's his face, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal,
right?
yeah.
Yep. Christy says it's 8:03 there in in Sweden. Hello from Sweden.
I thought they were only 7 hours different.
I don't know. I don't know the math.
Nope. Yeah,
Yes.
Christy says that's one of the fact checkers. I
She's
was
a doctor.
referring to, so
I mean,
she would
come on.
know.
Yeah, she would know. Let's see what's next after Prince of
John
Persia.
Madden football.
John
1990.
Madden football, man.
Oh yeah.
It was a football 1987, I think it said. So this, in the book, they talk a lot
Madden.
about. Yeah, they talk a lot about this one really breaking the boundaries because it wasn't the Tecmo Bowl or the not Tecmo Bowl. What's the little magnet game? Somebody got to help me out. Magnet football game from this thing, the electric football game. This thing here, it was just your ability to control the characters was different. I remember playing on these, and yeah, it's a good time. Let's see what's after Madden.
Street Fighter 2. 1991.
Street Fighter 2. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I played a ton of Street Fighter 2
Yep.
in arcades. That and when they hopefully get to Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter 2 is so much fun. Rasmus says 1804. Yes, that is 6. Okay, so Christy was wrong.
What?
Ooh.
Oh.
Wrong. Oh my god.
I'm gonna write that down. That does not happen very often.
Actually, day and time for today. It is 11:05 a.m. Central Time. Christy Custer. Let's take a photo of that. Let's see. Christy Custer. She was wrong. Okay. Well, that's one out of one.
I'm gonna bet that her computer is set to the wrong time zone. Is probably why that happened. Something happened. She's on Pacific time. That's what happened. Oh, I hope I don't see her for a while. I'm gonna be in serious trouble.
Yep. Oh, that's good. That's good. She says rude. All right, let's see what's next after what John Madden? Or
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. Okay,
1992.
Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Okay.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the
1991.
Hedgehog. God, these were my games. I know I'm 40, but these were my games. Right here, Sonic.
That was Sega, right?
Yeah, Sega. I was like, you know how there's like Ford versus Chevy, and there's I don't know, whatever your K-State versus KU or here in town, and Rasmus says, "Let's leave, Christy." So the idea of a Sega versus a PlayStation 1 or a Super Nintendo. Like my neighbor had a Super Nintendo, I had a Sega. So we would come, I would bring mine over and we would play, and like the debate on which one was better was just always so much fun. But
Well,
Sonic
you had
2,
to have, sometimes you had to have access to both because you couldn't buy the games, right? You couldn't play Sonic on Nintendo. It just wasn't possible. So
well, what's really fun though is now I've been playing it on Nintendo Switch, because you can get the pass to play all Sega games, or not all Sega games. I wish there was a lot more, to be honest. Brad says Xmas versus Christmas. Yes, that's a debate, which it's funny because X really just means Jesus anyways. So there's no war on Christmas about Xmas. Okay, Christy Custer, just wait until we play Uno on Invite Sent. If you can get it working. Oh my gosh, another one. The hits keep coming. Let's move on to let's move on to the next one.
Doom.
Doom. Okay,
Doom was huge.
I love Doom.
Big one.
Building Doom maps. Yeah. That I don't know if you ever did that, but building the Doom maps in the 1980s or 90s or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I wish I could find. Oh, right here. I don't know. Did you ever build Doom maps? It was so much.
So
it
Bubba,
was so intense.
This is kind of a
You're in college
thing
now?
we probably ought to talk about here.
Okay, please.
Like what you're talking about is this is a PC game.
Mm-hmm.
Not. I did not have a PC game. I did not have a PC until like 1994.
I'm so spoiled. Yes.
So I mean, with your dad being a Radio Shack, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have access to it. But so all of my experience in gaming up until 1994 was all console. And since I've really not done any console, I'm pretty much all PC. So, so I did not ever. I played Doom on my friend's computer, but I never built any maps or anything.
So, thank you for that. I would say back when I was doing this, I'm trying to remember if I want to find a video of somebody making a map here. Because you would, see, this is even newer Doom. This is a newer Doom, but like the Doom where you would draw the lines like I showed, that was just so intense trying to build something, and then you would put like the big boss wherever, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, my grandpa was an engineer, and so like at that same time he was showing me AutoCAD, so things were just like working in my mind. And how much have I wasted by not doing all these smart things? And now I just talk. Anyways, let's move on.
Mist.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
come
yeah,
on, God. I have been actually looking to play the remake. I actually want to do a series where I'm playing Mist, because they brought one out in 2021.
Yep.
And I played it, so I had the CD. You know, you play the CD, you put it in. I think it was like 2 CDs or whatever. This is a newer version. I actually was looking for the original Mist because they've not updated it, but they've made it where you can download it now. But yeah, I love that game because it was you were trying to solve puzzle type stuff by going up over this ramp and on this bridge and everywhere else. I really love Myst.
The cool thing about, you mentioned CDs, and I'm going to say this is
please.
The cool thing about CDs and having the games on there was now you could have like a full cutscene, like you could have a movie.
Yeah.
You know, and then I think that really elevated the gaming experience. So that's something new that once you introduce CDs, you got to watch the cutscenes and the movies, and the gameplay obviously became a lot smoother, and you had better graphics. But
like this image right here just brings back just euphoria, like so much enjoyment as a kid playing this game and trying to figure it out. And then I believe what year was this though? Like I believe the internet wasn't really
probably early 90s, probably 89, maybe 90, 91.
I was building bulletin boards on 56K baud modems for people to call it. No, it was before that. It was like whatever 30 or 18 before that, where I was building with one of my dad's coworkers. We were building a couple different bulletin boards, and I remember just playing this, and I just had a great time. It's fun to talk about this older stuff, and you know, you're a few years older than me. Then I have friends like Kyle, who's in the chat. He's in his early 30s. And just to have that conversation. Then Christy, she's in her 60s, so when we 70s, whatever it is. And so like she she definitely knows about Pong and tennis for two. But I would say like we
Well, but we're going to refer you to our lesson on toxicity and good digital behavior.
Do you have any curriculum on that by chance? Maybe I can do it on a game plan.
Especially since she can't defend herself. She's probably driving over here right now. She's going to be on the camera in 5 seconds.
So the idea of all of us looking back and having conversations, and how many conversations have we all had, and then about, I played video games back when I was a kid. I played that there Pac-Man, and just every one of these as we keep going, as the people get younger with their first games. And that's kind of why the shows, right? The shows, you were my first guest, right?
Yeah.
On This Is Why Girls Don't Play Video Games. Oh, I'm so sorry, Christy. Wow, now it's getting sexist. You're right. Forgive us. Forgive me. So you were my first guest, and you talked about the Intellivision, and you talked about the Romancing the Three Kingdoms. Yeah, Romancing the Stone is a movie with Michael Keaton and that lady, and it's a pretty good movie.
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas, Keaton. Sorry. Michael Keaton is Batman.
That's right.
And now he's Green Goblin-ish in Super Spider-Man. So
his best movie is probably Multiplicity, though. I'm just gonna
I do like Multiplicity.
That's
you know
great.
What movie I liked growing up with him, though? I liked
Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom, thank you. I was thinking, I was saying Dad Mom in my head, but Mr. Mom was one of my favorite movies.
That was a good one.
And that's what's fun about these shows is then I guess always my first question to people is, what was your favorite game growing up, and what was your first video game? And this is what I love about the history of video games, and why it's been so fun for me is just finding out what people do. Okay, next one.
Nintendo Virtual Boy.
Nintendo Virtual Boy. Nintendo Virtual Boy. I don't know if I know what this is. Is this appropriate?
Yep.
What?
Oh yeah, this didn't do very well because it made people sick because of the way the VR worked. It wasn't really VR. It kind of just messed with your vision to make it look weird.
Look at this.
People were puking.
Oh my gosh. I kind of don't remember this at all. Look, here's Linus going through it. Oh my gosh. This guy's really good. This
Linus probably did not enjoy it, would be my guess.
Yeah. Nintendo's failure.
Yeah.
So interesting about Linus, Wallace Santos from Main Gear, who I'm interviewing in a few months, hit Linus when he brings the Main Gear computers on. Like, that's the only one. That's the only brand that actually he will keep. It's really cool. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Wow. Virtual Boy. I kind of remember this controller.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Okay, let's go to the next
Virtual
one.
Boy was not
Pokemon.
Good.
1996.
Pokemon, and I'm guessing it was on Game Boy.
Yes, that would be my guess as well. I don't know for sure, but
let's see. Pokemon 1986 handheld.
Yep.
Look at these. Okay. Well, no, that's
it
a
was
Game
on
Gear.
The foldable Game Boy.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, that's the OG. Yeah, color.
This is
Game Boy Color. Yeah,
Tiger
I didn't have a
Electric.
Game Boy Color. Mine was original. Mine was
Yeah. Well, this wasn't the original game.
That's
Game
mine.
Boy had
That's
it, right?
mine
right
there.
Mhm.
Yep. That's the one I had.
Yeah. I played the Game Boy Color quite a bit with Zelda and other things. I didn't play Pokemon. Wasn't my go-to.
No, I didn't
really
play
didn't
Pokemon
play it.
either.
Yeah, I'm not cool.
The Sims.
The
2000.
Sims 2000. I love The Sims, man. I played that a little too much and built my own house. And I've done that in Minecraft. I've built my own house in Minecraft. It's just fun to do that because it's a little easier instead of creating out of nothing for me. And building on Sims, building your own house, and then hearing the Sims characters. I love that about the Sims. Okay, let's see what's next.
Sony PlayStation 2. 2000.
PS2. So it goes on about PS2 being one of the. I think PS2 is PS2 or PS4 is still the most sold video game console ever in history. It still beats the Switch, which is incredible. The Wii and the Switch.
Yeah.
There's some little video where you can see the timeline of those.
That was a console that I actually did buy. Was PS2 after my computer days.
So we went through the 80s. Oh, Tron. Oh my gosh, Tron in the arcade.
Light Bike. Oh yeah.
Light Bike. Yeah. So we're going through the 80s. So we're through the 80s. We just finished the Game Boy. Man Football. Reader Rabbit. Oh my God, so many memories. No. My mind, my body, and my soul are hurting right now. Reader Rabbit. 1980. What did it say? 1986. Now this game. This was my game that I learned and I played so much. Holy cow! I'm like in tears right now. How incredibly nostalgic this is. I don't know if you ever played this, but this game made me smarter.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Gosh, this game, Reader Rabbit. Oh, it just so many memories. I don't want to spend more time on this because it's just gonna make me cry. It very impactful to my life. All right, we're in the 90s now. We're almost done here. We're on Sonic.
Dune 2.
Yep.
That was the first. That was good. But that's 1994. That's my first Warcraft right there. My first
Warcraft.
First
Absolutely
PC
love
game I ever
Warcraft.
got, Warcraft. Yep.
Love Warcraft. Mortal Kombat. I played so much Mortal Kombat on Super Nintendo. Yep. PlayStation 1, Tomb Raider. Okay, let's not go any further here. PlayStation. This is PlayStation 1. Let's see what it says. PlayStation 2.
Bubba, we might
Grand
have to
Theft
do a
Auto
part
3.
2.
Yep. I think I'm
2001.
done here, yeah. Grand Theft. So well, let's just finish with these things. I've been going rather slow because I'm having too much fun. But yeah, look at all this stuff. And we get to EverQuest.
EverQuest was
so
big.
EverQuest was my game for about 4 years until World of Warcraft came. And I played so much World of Warcraft. Sorry, EverQuest. Well. Andrew Lombardo, yes, Reader Rabbit. Sorry, I'm keeping you from a meeting, maybe? We went a little longer. Yeah, than I thought.
No, you're fine. No,
I
we're
realized.
fine. I'm fine
I
with
realized
time.
this- Okay. Sims. Just talked about Sims. Xbox came out. America's Army. So this must have been before Call of Duty. I know there's a history in Call of Duty and all the different versions. Nintendo. Here's the flippable Game Boy.
Yep.
Nintendo DS, I should say.
Actually, that's a DS. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. RuneScape was really big to a lot of friends I had. I didn't play it much or at all. 05, the Xbox 360, World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft came out before 2000.
It came out before 2000. So that's the I don't know. There's a misconception about that, about why people say 08 when it actually came out in 04.
Yeah.
And I don't know why there's people been saying that. I don't know where because something happened in 2008, I think. So, yeah. World of Warcraft. I just played. Kyle and I were my buddy here in the chat. We're playing classic Wrath of the Lich King these last few months.
That was one of my favorites. Yeah.
It is everybody's favorites. Minecraft 2010, bought by Microsoft later down. Skylanders, definitely people played a lot of Skylanders. Had little action characters. On
That wasn't a long.
TV
That wasn't a
stand.
long thing though. Like that was a kind of a fad. It didn't last. long.
It was a fad. But then they had one for Disney characters similar to that.
Yeah.
Let's see, what is this? OA? Crowdfunded Kickstarter game. Huh. Oh, and the Oculus Rift. Huh. Interesting. The Last of Us. Then we're talking about Clash of Clans, War of Tanks. Yes. More
War of
games
Tanks.
on your phone came out. So 2016, I lost like 15 pounds.
Pokemon Go.
That summer playing Pokemon Go all over Kansas City. And then I went to China that summer. It was the second out of 3 times I went to China, and we played over there and got different Pokemon. The Switch came out in 2017. The adaptive controller, which we know people who have created this, and then obviously we're now in 2020. There's Fortnite, and lastly to finish up, Animal Crossing, which I just checked out from the library. So I'll be playing it with Danielle, and then this is Hades. Okay, so we spent a lot of time in the 80s. And
they
70s.
They skipped a lot of things on that page.
Sure.
In the 2000s, like StarCraft.
StarCraft.
I mean, like the first esport ever, really. I mean, that was like where it all started. So sorry, I disagree with their list a little bit.
Sure. Well, I think that's just some of their highlights, and that might be the only ones who gave them the ability to list stuff. You know.
True. That's true.
That could be it.
Also true.
Man, thanks for coming on and talking about the history of video games and running down nostalgia road here with Andrew and Christy and Rasmus and Kyle and others in the chat. Thanks for being here. We spent over an hour when I didn't expect to even spend 30 minutes on this, and it's been fun, man. Thanks for walking me through this and
thanks for having
tell me
me
more.
on.
Where can people find out more about gaming concepts and what you do?
Well, they can visit our website, gamingconcepts.gg. We can also, we have our YouTube site, Gaming Concepts, that has a lot of our webinars and some podcasts on there. And yeah, and I am at Russ the Teach on Twitter and Michael Russell on LinkedIn. That's all my socials right there. So yeah, that's how you can find out about me. So
thank you, Dr. Michael Russell. I appreciate you, sir. This has been fun. I'm going to close down the show and
awesome.
Have a fun holiday. I know we're going to probably talk a little bit over the next few days, but if I don't, and have a great holiday break.
Yeah, I will. You too. I know you're going to be doing some fun traveling, so that'll be fun.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's excited for you. That'll be great to hear about. So, but yeah, we're just gonna be writing books. That's what we're doing. So, but yeah, thanks for having me on. It was fun. I love
thanks for reaching out.
And video game history. So, anytime.
Appreciate you, man. All right, stay amazing, sir.
Thanks.
See ya.
You too. Bye.
Okay, we're wrapped up. I guess I probably spent more time than I should have talking about video games, but I think that's what I do. And thank you, everyone. Really, I'm not going to FETC, Andrew. Nope. I try not to travel as much as I had been. I'm taking a break, but I am traveling for Christmas to Guam for my sister-in-law, and we're gonna hang out on the beach during Christmas. But man, I love talking about the history of video games. I'm super excited. There's some stuff coming down the pipe with, or pipe. I don't know the phrase. We're going to be doing stuff, the nonprofit I run, we're going to be working with some different organizations to do some history of video games, short content series, and maybe even with some other esport orgs, do some history of esports. And I am super excited about making that content this next year and diving into that and kind of educating people about where video games started, where esports started, where Scholastic Esports comes in, and having some fun with that. But really, thank you guys for being here. Tomorrow is our last show of the year. We'll be doing Alpha for Gamers. Alpha is a series of conversations where people get together and learn about faith. And we got to create a Discord that I'll share about tomorrow, where Alpha for Gamers is where gamers come and hang out in the Discord and learn about faith. So that'll be the last show tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Christy. You spent 2 weeks there. Okay, great. Tomorrow, we'll see you tomorrow. I think it's at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Let me double check. 9 a.m. Central. We'll be hanging out right back here on any of the channels, either Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or YouTube or LinkedIn. You can check us out on any of those channels. Good morning, gamers. We're gonna finish up with a commercial from the gamingconcepts.gg website. Guys, stay amazing. See you later. Good morning, gamers.
Hey, yo, good morning, gamers. Good morning, gamers.
Hello, my name is Christy Kester. As a public educator for the past 24 years, I have watched as interest in esports has exploded in schools across the world. Last fall, I joined the High School Esports League and helped to establish the education department. Since then, we have been working hard to integrate esports into education to create a scholastic gaming experience where students can learn, play, and compete. With our evidence-based, STEM.org-approved gaming concepts curriculum, schools can offer 4-credit classes during the school day that help improve chronic absenteeism, student engagement, and mental health.
As a senior health advisor for High School Esports League and a former ER physician, I see the incredible need for supporting mental health in students in today's schools. In fact, schools at a formidable crossroads where a pervasive and persistent decline in youth mental health now intersects with staff burnout. This has not been a sudden problem, but rather one we've seen over decades. The American Academy of Pediatrics announced in 2019 that 1 out of 3 students meets the criteria for generalized anxiety disorder before graduation. And the CDC reaffirmed that between 2009 and 2019, depression increased in adolescents by roughly 40%. The most telltale sign that grabbed all of our hearts was when the Surgeon General announced in December of 2021 that female adolescents increased their visits to the emergency departments around the nation by 51% for suicidal ideations. In the face of this, schools are desperately seeking solutions and ways to support those that struggle with mental health challenges. Now, these statistics that I mentioned are averages. We know there are some cohorts that are at higher risk, particularly those students who do not feel they have a safe place or a legitimate legitimate connection to school. That's where esports represents a tremendous opportunity. Students who are not currently involved with sports, music, arts, and traditional extracurriculars are left with minimal opportunities to make a connection. Yet many of these students find connections to their friends and other social outlets through online activity, including gaming. So, Scholastic Gaming represents an opportunity to leverage an area of interest into a legitimate class that meets state standards and expectations, all through an evidence-based curriculum that can simultaneously support self-esteem, self-efficacy, and life skills in many kids who desperately need it.
Hi, my name is Michael Russell. During my career as a teacher, I was fortunate enough to have the support of my administrator as I began the journey to establish the first 4-credit Scholastic Gaming course in the nation. At HSEL, we have the resources and data to help you speak with your administrators about the impact that Scholastic Gaming and esports can have for your students. We have strategies that can help you with acquiring technology and curriculum, such as ESSER funds, grant applications, and partnerships. The High School Esports League has invested significant resources in helping our education partners, and we are excited about this opportunity to help you establish Scholastic Gaming in your school.
Varsity Esports Foundation. Founded in December 2018, the Varsity Esports Foundation was created by a group of esports professionals. Our mission is to create an inclusive, safe, and aspirational network of gaming communities for all. The Varsity Esports Foundation is a 501c3 organization established to offer financial assistance to schools and to provide a pipeline for students to reach their potential through esports. We have 4 foundation goals. 1. Build a network of inclusive gaming communities. 2. Create scholarships for students within these communities. 3. Ensure a safe environment for all players. And 4. Promote gaming literacy across the ecosystem. The foundation has funds for a limited amount of assistance to support schools with league fees and/or computer equipment. For more information, please visit us at varsityesportsfoundation.org. Varsity Esports Foundation, a pipeline for students to reach their potential through esports.
Esports and the CECC is back.
It's a sweet, sweet victory.
The CECC is back.
Will San Jose's winning streak come to an end?
College esports is back.
A ruling team story or an underdog story.
Let the series begin.
College esports is back. So we've got something going for both of these squads. As Choi Boy's not even looking at him.
CECC is back.
They have competed at an international stage. They have been in this position before.
College esports is back. It's a new year filled with new players, but the same collegiate esports action you know and love. Join me, your host, Paulie Hype, as we kick off the first stop for the CECC Roadmap September 17th and 18th with the South Region Online Qualifier. You can catch all the action starting at 10 a.m. EST on twitch.tv/esportsu. I can't wait to see you there. It's a brand new year, and I'm just getting started. Woo! It's a year of hype. Yeah! We'll see you this weekend. Woo!
Life is busy. Every day we ask questions like, what's happening today? What should I wear? How am I going to fit everything in? But then there are bigger questions like, why am I here? What's my purpose? Where am I heading? Is there more to life than this? These are some of life's big questions, but there's rarely enough time to think them through. That's why Alpha exists. Alpha is a place to explore life's big questions in a safe and open environment. It's a series of sessions where anyone can share their thoughts and opinions and ask questions without feeling judged. When you come to an Alpha, you'll notice that first, there's food. Whether it's a full meal or a light snack, this is the time to get to know each other in a casual setting. Next, you'll watch an Alpha Talk. The talks are created to engage and spark conversation. They explore big issues around faith from a Christian perspective. After the talk is a time for discussion. This is the most essential part of any Alpha. It allows everyone to share their own opinions on the ideas presented in the talks. It's a time for people with different thoughts, beliefs, and experiences to ask honest questions and have open conversation. Every week, there are guests coming for the first time to an Alpha in their community. Alpha is for everyone, regardless of background or beliefs. There's no pressure, no follow-up, and it's completely free to attend. Come and explore life's big questions. Find an Alpha near you today.